Okay, let's talk about the time that the Vatican got sued by Holocaust survivors. The lawsuit claimed that the Vatican profited from the crimes of the Ustaša regime in Croatia by helping store and possibly launder the gold taken from the victims. The Vatican has always denied the allegations, claiming that there's no concrete proof. But also, the Vatican is not allowing anyone into its archives, where the proofs might be stored. So, to understand what happened, we need to go back to 1941, when Germany invaded Yugoslavia, which resulted in the creation of the independent state of Croatia, which was basically a fascist puppet state run by Ante Pavelić and its Ustasha movement. The Ustasha was a nationalist movement advocating for the independence of Croatia, and its ideology was a mix of fascism, Nazism and Catholicism. So what could go wrong, right? By claiming that he wanted to convert the country to Catholicism, Pavelić gained the sympathies of the Vatican, the Archbishop of Zagreb, and many Catholic figures, and he actually appointed priests in high-ranking positions in his government and the Ustasha military. The problem, though, wasn't the Catholic influence, because the Ustasha regime was extremely brutal. They opened concentration camps, some of which were just for children, and proceeded with basically an ethnic cleansing, murdering around 700,000 people, mainly Jews and Serbs, between 1941 and 1945. Their lands, properties, money, jewelries all moved into the hands of the Ustasha, and they went as far as extracting gold teeth from their victims. So you would imagine that the priests involved in the government would condemn the atrocities, and you would be wrong. In 1941, Pavelić created an Office of Religious Affairs, run by a priest, to handle the conversion of Orthodox Church members. This office basically served as a legal way to transfer confiscated Orthodox properties to the Catholic Church, like monasteries, real estate, and religious artifacts. In one monastery alone, 36 boxes of stolen gold were later discovered, hidden under religious relics. That kind of implies to me that the Church wasn't just turning a blind eye on these atrocities, but they were actually complicit. Conveniently, in 1942, the Vatican Bank was created in Rome. Since it was located inside the Vatican, it had its own special rules like no taxes, no audits, and it could destroy its own records, which allowed all kinds of activities in secrecy. And so the Ustasha gold found its way into the Vatican, allegedly. In 1943, under the guidance of the Archbishop of Zagreb, Pavelić sent one of his men to Rome, and that man was Krunoslav Draganović. Draganović was a cleric, an Ustasha lieutenant colonel, and a military priest who was stationed at Jasenovac concentration camp, the third largest camp in Europe, which was known for its brutality. He arrived to Rome as a Red Cross representative and was appointed almost immediately secretary of the San Geronimo College. It is reported that he was also tasked with taking care of the Ustasha archives and gold, which was already in Rome, waiting for Draganović to deal with it. Now, San Geronimo College serves as a residence specifically for Croatian priests studying in Rome, but after the war it became the main center for Ustasha fugitives waiting to escape to South America. An Italian newspaper reported that the police was aware of their presence, but did not dare to raid the place out of fear of a diplomatic scandal with the Vatican. It continues by stating that those were high-ranking individuals that were about to go to Argentina thanks to officials that were happy to turn a blind eye and get a generous tip. Now, Draganović seems to have played a major role in how this operation was run by arranging false documents, organizing transfers, securing places on ships, and helping to hide the Ustasha members. As we've seen, he had connections to the Red Cross, and the Red Cross was linked to these escapes to South America. Basically, the Red Cross was providing documents for fugitives and displaced people, and often that's how Nazis and other war criminals obtain new identities. Father Dominik Mandic, who served as a chief economist at the Croatian College, was also involved in these operations by converting Ustasha gold into cash, and that cash was then used to fund these activities. You can see how this all played out by looking at Ante Pavelic. In 1945, he managed to escape Croatia and hid in a monastery in Austria. He was then provided a fake passport and entered Italy disguised as a priest. Once in Italy, he hid in various properties that belonged to the church, including Castel Gandolfo, which is just meters away from the Vatican. He eventually obtained a new passport and identity and escaped to Argentina, sailing from Genoa. Around the same time, the Bigelow dispatch revealed that the Ustasha gold was moving behind the scenes. Emerson Bigelow, an OSS agent, reported that over 2,000 kilograms of gold had been sent through the Vatican to a secret Swiss account, and to add fuel to the fire, another agent claimed that Colonel Babic had transported 10 truckloads of gold from Switzerland to the Pontifical College. If true, this kind of suggests that the Vatican might have been involved in laundering the Ustasha gold, especially since Swiss banks were also involved in moving money and assets to South America after the war. But to be clear, the Vatican has always denied the allegations, claiming that they weren't even aware of what was happening at San Geronimo College. Going back to the lawsuit, it was eventually dismissed, basically on 3 technical reasons. First, the plaintiffs couldn't prove that the gold that arrived at the Vatican belonged to them. Second, the Vatican invoked sovereign immunity. And third, the courts refused to question the actions of a foreign government under the Act of State doctrine.